This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Good to have you. Focus killer, the number one thing destroying your real estate business, your real estate momentum. Let's talk about that today. Of course, I'm going to give you the 10K per month blueprint. So most wholesalers, they don't fail because of lack of skill. They fail because of distraction. So let's talk about the number one focus killer that silently destroys your momentum and how to beat it. You know, when I started my business about 20 years ago, I thought success came from doing more marketing, more marketing channels, more strategies, more tools, more mentors. I figured if I just kept adding something, something had to click eventually, right? But what actually happened was the opposite. The more I had it, the more scattered I became. My energy was split into 100 different directions, and my results barely moving. And here's the truth: most people don't want to admit, okay? They don't want to admit what? They don't want to admit that distractions looks a lot like productivity. It looks like you're busy, you're learning, watching webinars, buying new systems, testing out new lead sources, tweaking your CRM, your Podio, and it all feels like work. But it's not the kind of work that brings you a signed contract. It's the kind that keeps you stuck between gathering data, making contact, between those two, gathering data and making content. And that's the dead zone where momentum literally dies. So let's define it clearly. The focus killer in wholesale real estate is chasing multiple strategies, multiple tools, and mentors all at once. And you've probably been there. I've been there, I know. You start learning about cold calling, then a YouTube ad says direct mail is the secret. You sign up for a course on texting campaigns, but halfway through, someone on Facebook swears by door knocking, and then another guy says, forget all that, you just need PPC. Before you know it, you've just got you got 10 tabs open at the same time, a half-finished Podio CRM setup, and no actual offers in the pipeline. So I get it. And we live in a world that rewards shiny object syndrome. I talked about this in the previous video. Every day there's a new marketing hack, a new automation, a new AI tool promising to make deals easier. But the truth, nothing replaces focus. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And here's how I learned that lesson the hard way. See, earlier on, I was trying everything. I had cold callers. I had cold callers, mailers, a VA scrubbing list, Facebook ads, all running at once. I thought I was scaling. I thought I was building a business. I thought I was building a business, but really I was just spreading thin resources across too many fronts. My team was confused. My budget was bleeding. And worst of all, my attention was fractured. So what would happen is I would start a campaign and abandon it before it actually matured. I'd switch strategies midweek because the podcast made me second guess myself. Deals slipped through the cracks because I was busy building systems. It felt like motion, but it wasn't progress. So again, I know you might be going through something similar. Then one day, I decided to do one thing radical, very radical. I cut everything but one marketing channel, okay? And I told myself I was going to master that one marketing channel. And you know what happened? Within 60 days, deals started closing faster. Well, what happened was I started filling my pipeline. My first deal entered the pipeline, as I've told you the story many times before. I knew my script inside out. I was just talking to people. My team was dialed in as well. We tracked every number. I started to partner with my mentor at the time, and that focus changed everything. Now, here's what that taught me. Mastery beats multitasking every time. Okay, it doesn't matter what the strategy is, as long as you focus in. When you focus on one channel, just one, you give yourself the bandwidth that you actually need to actually learn and master it. You start recognizing patterns that other people will not see. You start understanding nuances, spotting opportunities, and you're not guessing, you're growing. And once you've turned that one channel into consistent deal flow, then you can layer on another one. So, and this is something that you can't see unless I tell you the way I'm telling you right now. Think of it like building muscle. You don't go to the gym and do 20 different random exercises every session. You focus on one key lift. You get stronger and you build from there, right? The same goes for your business. Now, let me ask you something. If you had to choose just one marketing channel, okay, to go all in on for the next 90 days, which would it be? Okay, not 5, not 3 channels. Not, I'm talking about marketing channels. I'm talking about just one. And before you say, I don't know, let me give you a quick mental exercise. Ask yourself a simple question. This question right here. What's the one thing that I can do today that moves me closer to a signed contract? One thing. There's a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. You might want to pick up that book. It's a very good book. I'm talking about something not closer to a new idea. I'm not talking about a prettier spreadsheet again. I'm not talking about the newest CRM template. I'm something that gets you closer to a signed contract, because when you start measuring your day by that question results, your priorities shift instantly. You start filtering out the noise. You start focusing on signals. You stop chasing information and start chasing results. So if it doesn't move you toward contract, it's probably a distraction. If it doesn't move you closer to a contract, it's a distraction, period. See, most wholesalers are trapped in what I call the learning loop. They consume content endlessly, convincing themselves they are preparing, but in reality, preparation becomes procrastination, and procrastination kills deals every day of the week. Okay, so I'll tell you what breaks that loop. Clarity. You need to be clear, and clarity is deciding what game you're playing. You need to decide, and what winning looks like. Okay, once and for all. So for example, if your goal is to close 2 wholesale deals a month, ask yourself, what's the one marketing channel that gives me the best chance to hit that? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. What's the one daily action that I can take to fill that pipeline? It's a pipeline business, okay? And what's the one metric? Okay, you need to have SMART goals. What's the one metric that tells me if I'm on track or not? And that's it. And that's your focus framework, okay? So if you don't have that in place, of course, I'm here to help with that. Everything else, every new idea, every better way that you might hear, every hack, all those things get filtered through that lens. And if it doesn't serve your one focus, it doesn't get your attention. That's where you need to get to. You want to know what's really crazy? The more I simplified, the faster my profit multiplied. And it's happened to me over the years. And I get distracted every now and then too. See, when I stopped chasing 10 things and poured into one, it was like the fog lifted. Okay, so my team knew exactly what to do. My time was structured. Time is everything, right? My results were predictable, and suddenly I wasn't stressed. So I was in control. Finally, deals started to stack, not because I was doing more. And it's an ongoing battle because I've fell apart a few times since I started doing this, but I know what to get back to focus, or when to get back to focus. And that's the paradox of momentum. It's not built on chaos, it's built on clarity. Now, this doesn't mean you can't learn from different mentors or learn a new idea or explore new strategies down the road, but things needs to be in structure. Timing matters. You need to learn in sequence, not in chaos. Implement, test, refine, and then you expand, right? So think about it this way. If you try to learn 5 languages all at once, you'll never become fluent in any one of them, right? So, but if you focus on one language until you're fluent, picking up the next one becomes 10 times easier. And business works the same way, okay? So focus creates fluency. Yeah, focus creates fluency. When you're fluent in one marketing channel, when you know how to pull a list, filter leads, start conversations, analyze deals, and close, then and only then do you have a foundation solid enough to stack more channels on top. Okay, so if you're listening right now and feeling like your momentum has been off, your energies are scattered everywhere, I understand, okay? And maybe deals are inconsistent. Take a deep breath, step back, simplify, ask yourself, what's your one focus? What's your one focus? Ask yourself, what's your one focus? Write it down, circle it, and commit to it for the next 90 days. Don't buy another course. Everything you need, I have a free course on this channel, but don't buy another course. Don't switch mentors. Don't jump platforms. Just go all in one strategy until you've proven it works. Because here's the thing, your results aren't waiting on new idea. I promise you, they're waiting on a new level of commitment to the one you already have. And no, you don't need a miracle. You need momentum. And the only way it's going to happen is focus. Momentum doesn't just come from dabbling in and out of different things. It comes from dedication. And I've coached hundreds of wholesalers. You know that, you can see here. And every single one who broke through did it by narrowing down their focus, not expanding it. They stopped being spectators and they start being executors. They start executing. They didn't need to reinvent their system. They just needed to stay consistent long enough to see it work. And it's a struggle. It's easier said than done. I know who I'm talking about. So remember, information is not power. Execution is power. So if you want to regain momentum, here's your challenge. Pick one channel, one marketing channel, set one goal. Make it a SMART goal. Make sure it's measurable, and take one daily action that pushes you closer to a signed contract. That's it. Keep it simple. Every day, do the next right thing in that one lane. I can't stress this enough, because once you learn to control your focus, everything else falls in place. Your systems, your confidence, and of course, your income. So, and before you know it, you look back, another 90 days is gone, and you realize you didn't need to chase everything. You just needed to master something. You needed to master something. You can't control distractions, but you can control your commitment. Again, it's easier said than done. All right. So next, we'll uncover how commitment separates the dabblers, people that dabble in and out of everything. Okay, this is setting apart the winners from the losers. Okay. Yes, I'll be right back. Stay tuned. I will be right back. This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire. All right, welcome back. The hidden key to wholesale real estate success. All right. The theme today, maybe, I've got some tactics I want to share with you, but maybe I want to make sure I address some mindset stuff that nothing else will work if you don't get it right. See, everyone says they want to make $10,000 a month, but only the committed will ever do. Let's talk about what real commitment actually looks like in wholesale real estate. Now, here's the thing. One thing, success is key. I get it. It's easy anyway, right? But talking about success is easy too. Now, all the stuff is easy. Just talking is easy, but staying consistent when progress is slow, when leads dry up, when the numbers don't look good, that's where most people drop off. It's tough. It's tough, but it's worth it. Commitment isn't loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't post screenshots of checks or celebrate every little win. Commitment is quiet, consistent, and steady. It's what happens when the excitement fades, but the work continues, right? You said you do something, but you keep doing it even when the mood has long left you. Let's be honest. In wholesale real estate, you're going to have moments where everything feels like it's working against you. You'll pull a list, make hundreds of calls, and nobody answers. You'll finally get someone interested, and then they ghost you. It's real. You drive for dollars all weekend only to find out the property you wanted is already under contract with someone else. So those are the moments that separate the losers from the winners. Those are the moments that separate the motivated people from committed ones. Motivation is emotional. It's the spark that gets you started. It's what happens when you watch a hype video and hear a success story, but it's emotional, it's fleeting. You feel pumped. You're ready to take on the world, but motivation fades. It always does. I still go through the same struggles, okay? Commitment is different. Commitment is a decision. It's saying, I'm in this, I'm all in, no matter what. And that's what makes all the difference. That's what set the difference. That's what set the losers apart from the winners. See, commitment means you keep taking action even when it doesn't feel good. Like a system, but you're a human being. Even when it doesn't look like it's working, even when when everything seems to be falling apart, when you question if it will ever work for you, you don't wait for perfect conditions. Commitment means you understand you have to keep going because you have to create momentum through consistent execution. And I like to break it down into 5 stages just to make it more solid for you, because each one tests your commitment in a different way. 1, data, contact, leads, contract, and 5, deals. At each stage, you're going to hit resistance. When you're in the data stage, right, you're building your list, you're pulling the list, you're pulling records, cleaning spreadsheets, looking at the data, and it's boring. It feels like nothing is happening. But commitment means you stay disciplined regardless. You stay disciplined enough to prepare your foundation. Then comes 2, contact. You start calling, you start making contact, you start texting, knocking doors, reaching out, rejecting, setting up campaigns. People call you, hopefully, but outbound calls, people hang up. Some curse you out, some waste your time, and this is where most people will quit. But commitment says, nope, I'm going to hit my numbers no matter what. You get it? So next is 3, leads, right? You finally get some traction. People start showing interest, which is what makes it a lead. But now the follow-up game begins, and it's long, it's repetitive, and you're making the attempt, but you'll be tempted again to quit, because leads actually take nurturing sometimes. Commitment means you stay patient and persistent. You follow up until they're ready. Then, because the timing is always right for you, right? But not necessarily for your leads. Then you reach the contract stage. This is where the pressure hits. Negotiation, paperwork, buyers, timelines. It's easy to second guess yourself. Commitment here means you stay calm, cool, calm, collected. You stay focused and you follow all the way through. And finally, where the money is made, deals, right? The payoff, the check, the validation. But you know what's funny? The moment you close a deal, you realize you're right back at stage one. Commitment isn't just about getting there, it's about staying there. You keep that cycle going, right? You keep it going, because sometimes you close one deal and it seems forever before you get the next deal, especially in the beginning when your pipeline is just building week after week, month after month. That's how real consistency compounds, staying the course in that period, because commitment doesn't skip stages. It doesn't chase shortcuts, right? It walks the process all the way through, and then you rinse and you repeat. And in wholesale real estate, there are three main processes that takes you through that process that require this kind of long-term commitment. Number one, marketing. Two, acquisition and disposition. But let's break it down, because again, remember, at every phase and process, you get hit with the temptation to quit. Marketing is your oxygen. It's how you generate leads, direct mail, cold calling, texting, PPC, whatever you've chosen, whatever your channel that you've chosen, the results take time. You can't send a few mailers and expect deals to rain in. You have to build rhythm, test, tweak, and repeat. Commitment means you stick with it even when the first few campaigns flop. And then you have acquisition. This is a process that takes you through from leads to the contract, right? The heart of turning interest into contracts. This requires follow-up, rapport building, and negotiation. It's not a one-call close oftentimes, okay? It's persistence. Sometimes it's 6, 7 follow-ups before a seller finally says yes. Commitment means you stay engaged even when the seller says, not right now. The timing is not always right for them. The timing is always right for you, because you are a business system. And finally, you have the disposition, selling the deal, right? Finding the right buyer. This is where patience meets professionalism. You might think the deal is done once it's under contract, but it's not. You have to manage expectations, solve problems. You have to keep your buyers list warm. Commitment means you keep showing up for every part of that process until the check clears, literally, right? So that's what real commitment looks like, not a burst of effort and then you go somewhere and then rest, but more so a lifestyle of follow through. Okay, so it's something you have to get used to. You probably heard this quote before, but I'm going to repeat it because it's the truth of the wholesale real estate business. Like any other business, consistency beats intensity every single time. Anyone can go hard for a week, right? But can you stay steady for 6 months? Do you have the commitment? Can you keep making calls when no one answers? Can you keep your marketing campaign running when it seems like no leads is coming in? Can you keep following up when the deals are not closing as fast as you thought it would? That's where money is made, though. That's where the money is, not in the hype, but in the habit that you build. Because here's the secret: the people who win in this game aren't the smartest. I promise you, they're not the richest, okay, and even the most experienced. They're not. They're the ones who simply don't stop. They treat this business like a marathon, not a sprint. They understand that every no is getting them closer to a yes. They understand that progress often hides behind consistency. That's the secret in this segment: consistency. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. Okay. I remember one investor who told me, I called for 3 months and didn't get a single deal. I almost quit. I hear it all the time. Okay. By the 4th month, he actually closed 3 deals back to back. Yes, the same exact story I told you before. I hear it all the time. So you can't afford to quit in and out. If he had given up on that 3rd month, he would have missed the breakthrough. So let me ask you, are you treating your business like a temporary hustle? Actually, most people do that. That's why most people don't win, right? Or a long-term commitment. It's completely up to you, but I understand it's easier said than done. And if it's just a side hustle, the first tough week will knock you out. And if it's a commitment, you'll adjust, you will learn, and then you will push forward. And but with commitment, you will say, you will figure it out. You'll be all the way in. It says, even if I don't feel motivated today, I'll still show up. That's the thought that needs to be going through your head. Okay. And I'm not waiting for success. I'm working for it. These are the thoughts that need to be going through your head, right? You're already getting success. And that kind of mindset will change everything for you. Once you make that shift, mindset wise, you stop chasing motivation, you stop waiting for the perfect timing, and you stop needing consistent reassurance. You know what the game is. You start moving steadily, strategically, and relentlessly. Every call, every text, every campaign, every initiative, every follow-up becomes a brick on that foundation of your wholesale real estate business. So that's how you build something real, something for real, for real. That's how you build it. You have to think in terms of consistent action, all out massive action, because commitment isn't just the hidden key. Is the one key, is the only key that works long term. It's what transformed this business from a gamble into a business system. So if you're serious about making that $10,000 a month or more, stop saying you want it, okay? And just say, I'm in, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in. Every decision, every action, every day. Prove your commitment through your consistency. That's the hidden key here, consistency, right? We might call it persistence, right? Whatever you want to call it, but it means you show up every day, even when you don't feel right. So remember, the deals don't go to the most excited. They go to the most consistent. That's what I want you to take away from this. And when you stay consistent long enough, something magical happens. Everybody will say it's overnight success, but obviously you know better, right? Results compound, right? Your skills sharpen, your confidence builds, and before you know it, what once felt impossible start to feel normal. You understand it, especially once you get results, it becomes second nature. And that's the power of commitment in action. But initially, especially before your first deal or your first few deals, it will feel like a struggle, right? So the next time you feel discouraged or stuck, remind yourself, this is part of the process. You're not failing, you're building. The key isn't to go harder, it's to go longer. Get it? Is to go longer. Commitment is the fuel, but consistency is the engine. So let's talk about how consistent action actually compounds your results over time. Okay. And I will be right back. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. This is Ola at My Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire. Welcome back. Welcome back. The unsexy secret to wholesale real estate success. Sorry. I know today I'm doing the tough love thing. See, everybody wants quick wins. I do too. But the real money is in repetition. Okay, so let's talk about why consistency. We talked about it a little bit, but let's talk about why is the unsexy skill that creates the sexiest results. You know, this business attracts a lot of dreamers. People who want the fast checks, okay, the flashy numbers, the screenshots of $30,000 assignment fees, and that's fine. We all want those kind of things, but what most people don't realize is that the biggest checks in this game, they don't necessarily come with speed. Okay, they come from consistency. I talk about the $82,000 stuff that came from consistency. Wholesale real estate isn't a lottery. Okay, it's not about gambling. It's not a maybe I'll hit a big one this month type of game. It's a pipeline business. It's a process, and that pipeline only works if you're feeding it every single day. So let's break that down for a second, real quick. Let's make it quick. Every deal you close comes from a series of consistent actions that build momentum over time. You don't just wake up to a $15,000 check. Of course not, right? That check came from someone you followed up with 3 times a week. That lead came from a list you pulled a month ago. That list came from research you did while everyone else was taking the day off, right? So you can't skip the steps, even though it's easy to do that, especially when you can't see too far. You you can't rush the rhythm. There's a rhythm that you have to follow, and that's why consistency, as unsexy as it sounds, is your greatest advantage. Here's how I like to explain it. Using what I call the 5-stage model. Okay, I want to kind of reiterate that every successful wholesaler moves through these 5 stages every single week: data, contact, leads, contract, and deals. And if you want to build momentum, you have to touch each stage regularly. Okay. Think of it like a conveyor belt, right? Each part feeds the next. If you stop working one stage, the entire system slows down, right? So let's walk through it again. Let's take our time on this. Stage 1, data. This is where it all starts, right? You're pulling lists, updating records, stacking the data, filters, cleaning out duplicates. It's not exciting, right? But it's the foundation. You can't market without data, not in this digital age anyway. So stage 2, you have contact. You're reaching out, cold calls, outbound, text, direct mail, inbound, emails, door knocking, whatever channel you're working. My preference is digital marketing. This is where you create opportunities. It needs to be ongoing. Stage 3, you have the leads. Once you've made contact, some people actually they show interest, right? That's what makes it a lead. They're not deals yet. They're maybes, right? Your job is to nurture those leads through consistent follow-up. So you have stage 4, contract. This is where those nurtured leads, some of them will actually turn into signed purchase agreements, the fun part, right? Then you have stage 5, the deals. You market the contract, assign it, and close. That's your paycheck. Now, if you only focus on 1 or 2 stages each week, your pipeline will dry up. Okay. You might have a good month here and there, right? You might get lucky, but it won't last. The key is to build a rhythm that touches every stage, as long as the previous stage is also touched every single week for each one of those items in your pipeline. And here's a practical way to do that. Okay. Monday, just as an example, right? Monday, you pull data, you build your list, you clean them, you stack them. Stacking them is like, use the filters, and you get ready for your outreach on Tuesday. Again, it might not work exactly this way, but just think of it as a system. Tuesday through Thursday, you contact your leads, call, text, email, setting up campaigns, and testing different creatives on digital marketing. Whatever your main channel is, you hit it hard during these 3 days. Then Friday, you send out contracts, you follow up with hot leads, and manage your pipeline. It's your closeout day. Tie up loose ends and prepare for next week. Whatever cycle you're creating like that, and then before you know it, that's it. It's simple, repeatable, and powerful. Okay. So because when you stay consistent with that rhythm, your pipeline starts to feel itself. All right. It's compounding out. You stop worrying about where's the next deal going to come from, right? Because you've built a process that keeps generating opportunities. You want to get to a point where even if you try to turn off the pipeline, it won't turn off. That's where you're trying to get to. Now, here's where the magic happens, the compounding effect. The compounding effect. I want you to pay attention to that. Every call you make, every follow-up you send, every relationship you maintain, it all stacks up over time. One conversation today could turn into a $20,000 deal months from now. One $20,000 deal is your marketing paid for the next 2 years. And studies show that over 80% of deals come from follow-ups that happen after the 5th contact. And that means most of your competition gives up way too early. They stop at the first no, right? Maybe the second. But the pros, the professional ones, the consistent ones, they know that most no's are just not yet. Okay, so think about it. If you follow up consistently, you're converting the same leads everyone else gave up on. I'm getting motivated as I'm talking to you about this one. So you're literally picking up the deals off the ground because you had the patience to stay in touch, because you had the system to help you stay in touch. So I can't tell you how many times I've had a lead ghost me for months, and they always come back. It feels that way, okay? Only to call back out of nowhere and say, hey, you still buying houses? For years, okay, even a time when I got distracted and I stopped, right? So it's not the flashiest thing, but not the loudest marketer, but the most consistent one that continues to close the deals. Consistency turns effort into equity. Okay, so here's where most people mess up. They expect instant results. That right there is like shooting yourself on the legs. And they'll make calls for 2 weeks, they see nothing, is happening, and they say, this doesn't work, or they feel this doesn't work. Sometimes they don't say it out loud, life just happens. So let me give you a rule that will change how you see this business. The 90-day rule. Okay, the results you're seeing right now, the deals, the calls, the contracts, they're not from what you did this week, I promise you. Okay, they're from the work you did 90 days ago. They're from the work you put in 90 days ago. So if your pipeline looks dry today, it's not because of something you did yesterday. No, it's because of what you didn't do 3 months ago, 3 months back. And that realization changed everything for me. It didn't matter what business I'm on. Sometimes it feels like a deal came up fast. It's a setup of failure, because it's not going to happen like that all the time. When I started tracking my consistency, I noticed a clear pattern. Every time I got lazy for a few weeks, my deal flow dipped exactly 60 to 90 days later, every single time. But when I stayed disciplined, when I kept calling, kept following up, kept pulling the list, I would suddenly see like a surge of deals a few months later. It wasn't luck. It was math. It's simple arithmetic math. Consistency compounds like interest. You don't notice it right away? Yes, you don't. But over time, it becomes unstoppable. And the best part, once you build that rhythm, it actually gets easier with time. It gets easier with time. You stop overthinking. You stop chasing new ideas. You stop chasing prospects. You start trusting your process, systems, okay? Set of processes that became a system. Because the truth is, success in wholesale real estate isn't about doing 1,000 things once. It's about doing a few things 1,000 times. Repetition, boring. And yeah, that's not the most exciting message. It's not a secret hack or a shiny strategy, but it's the truth. So the unsexy work, the data pools, the follow-ups, the calls, the tracking, that's what separates a hobbyist from a professional. So let me paint you a picture. Let's paint a quick picture here. Imagine two wholesalers, right? Two real estate wholesalers start at the same time. Everybody is excited as usual when they start, right? The first one goes hard for a week. Excitement, buys every course, tests 5 different strategies, and burns out, completely burnt out by third week. By week 3, they're burnt out. The second one, they stick to one plan. They pull data every Monday, make calls, or set up their campaign, and tweak their strategy, their creatives, and by Friday they're getting calls. Right now, fast forward 6 months, they do this every week. Fast forward 6 months later, the first one is still trying to figure out. The second one has a full pipeline, repeat buyers, and steady income. That's the power of boring consistency. I know the unsexy stuff is what creates the sexiest results. Showing up when no one's watching, nobody's watching, late night, quiet, everybody's gone to sleep. That's what builds a business that lasts. So if you're sitting there wondering, why am I not seeing results yet? Ask yourself. It's a very simple question. It's not a trick question. Have I been consistent for at least 90 days? If the answer is no, That's your next step. Right there in front of you. That's your next step. The one thing that you need to do, don't reinvent the wheel. Just keep it turning. Boring, turning. Make your pipeline your priority. Touch it every day. Feed it every week. Okay, because the minute you stop feeding that pipeline, it starts to starve, but you might not see it later because a lagging indicator, you might not see it until later. And remember, consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up again and again, even when you don't feel like it. Yeah, I know. And that's how you turn momentum into money. Money. Okay, so the repetition you're avoiding is the success you're searching for. I know it's repetitive, it's boring. Maybe you don't intentionally quit, but life just happens. But this is why. So stay patient, stay ready, trust the process. Go all out massive action. Trust the process, because the most unsexy habit in real estate is consistency. It creates the most exciting result, the sexiest result. Once you've mastered consistency, you start analyzing and closing deals faster. So let's see how to master deals fast and turn your time into profit. I'll be right back. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Yeah. This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your Empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire. All right, welcome back. Master deals fast, save time, and close more in wholesale real estate. All right, so let's get back to some hype. What if you could spot a deal and close it in minutes instead of hours? Let me explain. Here's how to analyze and master wholesale deals fast. Now, let's be real. In this business, time is money. Actually, in my opinion, time is worth more than money. And the faster you can analyze a deal, the faster you can make an offer, and the faster you can lock it up before someone else does. So the biggest wholesalers aren't just lucky. I've said that before, right? In some previous videos. So these are just people that are efficient. They've learned how to separate real opportunities from time wasters in seconds. So let's break this down and make it simple. Wholesaling is built on one core idea. One core idea. You find discounted properties. You put them under contract and assign those contracts to investors for a profit. That's the game. Simple. It's not about fixing, flipping, or renting, unless you want to do that. You might keep the best deals for those purposes, but for wholesale, you are the connector, the middle person, solving problems and making margins. So to win this game, you need one skill more than anything else. You need deal analysis. Okay, this is how the investors are going to chase after you. Now, don't worry, deal analysis doesn't have to be complicated. Simple. We'll keep it simple. You don't need a master's in finance or fancy spreadsheets that take 3 hours to fill out. What you need is a clear framework, something fast, repeatable, and reliable. And that's where the 70% rule comes in, right? Here's how it works. Nice and simple. Keep it super simple, stupid. You know, the KISS principle, right? The KISS principle. You simply take the properties after repair value, or what we call the ARV, you multiply it by 0.7, then you subtract the estimated repair cost. That number gives you your maximum allowable offer, the MAO. So let's say you find a house with an ARV of $300,000 and it needs about $30,000 worth of work in repairs, right? And here's the math: $300,000 multiplied by 0.7, is $210,000. $210,000 minus $30,000, the estimated cost of repair, right? And then you have $180,000. That means the most you can offer, the most you should offer on that property is $180,000. If you want to leave enough money, if you want to leave enough room for your buyer to profit, because you want your buyers, the guy with the cash, you want them to still be able to pay your assignment fee and still profit. So now the 70% rule isn't set in stone. It shifts depending on the property value. So for $1 million properties, you can go higher. Okay, you can go to around 80 to 85% because the spreads are larger, right? You're just trying to make $10,000, maybe more, but just that's enough, right? So, and end buyers can absorb tighter margins with $1 million homes, but for properties under $100,000, you go lower, 50 or 60% of the ARV to protect your profit. Lower the price, the tighter the spread you need, right? So when in doubt, remember, higher value homes equals to higher percentage, and lower value homes equals to lower percentage. Very simple. So this simple 70% rule will save you hours of hesitation and second guessing. So if you ever wonder, what should I pay for a house? That's it right there. But numbers are not just the whole story, right? To truly master deals fast, you've got to look at three key decision metrics, okay? And these are just as simple, but just as important as the math, okay? So the metric number one is what we call motivation. Why does the seller want to sell? You need to, this is a simple information. You need to get that information. Are they facing foreclosure? Are they relocating? Did they inherit a property they don't want? Motivation is gold. The stronger the why, the more flexible they'll be on the price. And metric number two is the timeline, right? How soon do they need to sell? If they say, I'm just exploring my options, that's not a hot lead, okay? But if they say, I need to sell this week, that's a deal waiting to happen, okay? So the third metric number three, right? Condition. How's the property? Is it turnkey or a total rehab or somewhere in between? It needs cosmetics. You don't need to be a contractor, but you should know the basics: roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical, cosmetic repairs, quick visual cues, like they can send you pictures. These quick visual cues can tell you everything you need to know. And when you combine these three, motivation, timeline, and the condition of the property, you can instantly tell if a lead is worth your time. Okay? So, because here's the truth. You don't get paid for analyzing 100 properties. You get paid for identifying the one that meets all three criteria and locking them up before anyone else. All right. So now let's talk about speed hacks, because the real pros, the real professionals, the winners in this game, what they do is, or what they don't do is, they don't rely on memory or manual spreadsheets. They systemize everything. Okay, that doesn't mean stack upon stack of software. If you want to move fast, use pre-built analysis templates and plug and play sheets, plug and play softwares where you drop in the ARV, estimated repairs, and your percentage target, and boom, it spits out your offer range instantly. Okay, so you can create your own spreadsheets. Of course, you can use Google Sheets, Excel, or you can simply go use PropStream. Just simply go to myempirepro.com/big data. It has calculators that already spit these numbers at you. It's got built-in automation that pulls market data, of course, repair estimates and comparable sales right into your calculator, and you can see all the numbers right there. You can see the link in the description anyway. And if you want to go next level, use automation tools. Okay, there's more automation tools in that same system. So again, you don't need stack upon stack of different software. Just one is good. And these tools can help you analyze recent comparables, estimate ARV, after repair value, and even generate automated offers all within minutes. So the idea isn't to skip the analysis, is to speed it up without sacrificing accuracy. I mean, in this digital age, is the easiest thing ever if you're using the right tool. So Here's what happens when you move fast. One, you make more offers. Okay, you make more offers. And two, you get more contracts. The more offers, the more contracts, right? And three, you close more deals, right? Because it all feeds into each other. And it's really that simple. Think about it. If you're spending 3 hours analyzing every deal, you can only, obviously, you can only make a handful of offers every week. But if you can analyze a property in 10 minutes or less, you can make dozens of offers, and offers are the lifeblood of your business. And once you start getting leads, you need to be able to do this super fast. So you can't close what you don't offer on. It all starts with an offer. You cannot close deals if you don't make offers. You need to make offers. So the goal is to reduce the time from lead to offer, to make it almost automatic, right? And that's where deal mastery comes in. Once you've practiced this process enough, then you start seeing patterns. You start mastering all the patterns in between. They start to become second nature, and you start noticing that certain properties in certain zip codes, they tend to sell for about X dollar amount per square foot. You recognize which types of houses attract which types of buyers. You start picking up all this kind of, so you get a feel for deals. That sixth sense, that's where you're trying to get at. And that tells you when something is worth pursuing. Okay, so that's how top wholesalers in the game of wholesale real estate, that's how they've built pattern recognition through repetition. Remember, repetition, consistency, all by way of commitment, right? And the more consistent you are with your analysis process, the faster your instincts develop. Yes, a lot of this is instinct, but it's not magic. It developed over, doing this over and over. So when you get a new lead, you'll be able to say ARV looks like $220,000, probably needs about $25,000 in work. I can offer around $130,000. Boom, you just analyze the deal in less than a minute, and that's mastery. So now let's tie this into your acquisition process. Marketing, acquisition, disposition. Because the faster you analyze, the faster you can offer, and the faster you offer, the faster you contract, right? And speed equals to control. Speed is everything. And if a seller calls, right, and you can confidently give them a ballpark offer on the spot, that's what you're looking at, right? You instantly earn their trust because you sound like you know what you're talking about, and you can beat every competitor who says, let me run the numbers and get back to you, right? You get speed, okay? So, and the reality is that deals don't wait. Hesitation costs you opportunities, and you want to move so fast that by the time another investor is still calculating, you're already at the title company. Okay, so remember, let's keep it simple. Know your 70% rule. Remember the 70%, there's a wiggle room. You want to measure motivation, timeline, and the condition of the property. Okay, and you can use templates, you can use web-based softwares, the software as a service softwares, the one like, for example, PropStream, and you can make offers fast always. Like that, you have the numbers and you can tell them this is what we're looking at. Because in this business, speed is a strategy, standalone. It's a standalone strategy on its own. So you can analyze and close fast. Now, let's unlock one of the most powerful data sources in real estate. Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. All right.
This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right, welcome back. Let's spend this. Best kept secret of every successful wholesale real estate entrepreneur. All right. Why? How? What do you mean? Well, most wholesalers are fighting over the same lists, but the smart ones, they use list pendings for so many things. Okay. And let me explain exactly what it is and why you need it. Because if you haven't heard of this before, oh yeah, you're in for something here. Now, this one is the one. If you've been in the wholesale game for any number of minutes, you've probably realized that most people are running the same play. Simply, they're all buying the same data list, targeting the same motivated sellers, and using the same marketing messages. It's crowded out there. Everyone is pulling absentee owners, high equity list, or another one is tax delinquents. It's like fishing in the pond where 100 other people are casting right beside you, right? So, yeah. But then there's a smaller group of people, the ones who seem to get deals consistently. Even when the market slows down, they're not fighting for scraps. They're working smarter. And one of their biggest secret weapons, lease pendings. And if you've never heard that term before, don't worry, I got you. By the time we're done in this segment, you'll not only understand what it is and how to use it, strategically to get into deals no one else knows about. Okay, so let's start with the basics. It's very simple. What is list pendings? What exactly is list pendings? The phrase list pendings is Latin. It literally means suit pending, like a lawsuit pending. Okay, in real estate terms, it's a public notice that there's a pending legal action involving a property. Of course, a property you have interest in now, right? Most commonly, that means foreclosure, but it can also be tied to probate cases, divorces, title disputes, or unpaid debts, depending on the county you live in. Basically, when a list pending is filed, it tells the world, like literally they tell the world, hey, this property is involved in a lawsuit, something is going on. Okay, so now why should you care about that as a wholesale professional, right? As a wholesale real estate professional? Well, I'll tell you why. Because list pendings, these properties, they usually belong to motivated sellers, people who are under pressure. Maybe they're behind on payments, right? Maybe they inherited a property that's tied up in court. Maybe they're divorcing and need to liquidate, right? Either way, these folks are in a position where they need to sell now, and they often need to sell fast now, like right now. Okay, they're desperate, and that's what makes list pendings as a type of data. That's what makes it gold. You see, the best wholesale deals don't come from cold, uninterested owners or homeowners, right? They come from people who already have a reason to move on. And list pendings is one of the most powerful indicators of motivation that exists. Okay, and the beauty of it, right? Most wholesalers completely overlook it, right? Because the other gurus, they just preach easy money, right? They don't know how to access it. They think it's complicated, or they are too busy chasing easier lists. That's your opportunity. Okay, that's your opportunity. So let's tie this to our framework here, right? Because as always, this business run on 5 stages and 3 processes. 5 stages, 3 processes. The 5 stages are data, contact, leads, contract, and deals, right? When you close the deals, when you make money, or when you acquire a piece of property with inbuilt equity. And the 3 processes are marketing, acquisition, and disposition. So list pending sits right at the very beginning, at the data stage, right? So remember, data, contact, leads, contract, deals. Remember, wholesale real estate is the heart and the science of finding deeply discounted properties, locking up the right to the discount with a purchase contract, and assigning those rights to an end buyer, investors, right? People with the money, right? And you assign it for an assignment fee that starts for as high as $10,000. And on average, my My personal best is $82,000 net from one deal. So, but you don't get those kind of numbers by fishing in the same pond as everyone else. Okay, you get them by finding the deals nobody else is looking at, and that starts with the right data, contact, leads, contract, and deals. So when you pull list pendings data, you're not just buying another list, you're tapping into a good mine of sellers who already have urgency built in. So how do you find list pendings data? How? Well, step one, understand where it lives, right? Simple, right? Just know where it lives. List pendings filings are public records. Okay, they in United States is public. Okay, that means they're recorded at the county level, usually through the county clerk or recorder's office. And some counties make it easy. You can search online by typing list pendings and just putting your county name and then public records. Others might require you to call or visit the local courthouse. Sounds like dinosaur, right? Yeah. Just hold tight. Step two, you verify the details. Each filing will include the property address, the name of the parties involved, and then a case number. Okay, sometimes maybe even already a docket number, and that case number is key because it tells you why the list pendings was filed. It could be foreclosure, divorce, probate, or something else. You can use that to determine how motivated the owner might be, or to know how sensitive you need to be, how much empathy, what type of empathy. Step three, you need to filter intelligently, right? Don't just pull every list pending property. Layer it with other variables to pinpoint your best opportunities. This is the key. This is the biggest key here. For example, you might want to filter by equity, because some will have high equity, some will have low equity, some will have negative equity, right? So you might want to focus on homeowners with at least 30% equity. And then vacancy. Vacant homes often mean faster decisions. If the house is empty, it's a non-performing asset, it means faster decision. Ownership length. People who have owned the property for 5+ years usually have room to negotiate. These are like tired landlords and the likes. Okay. Location, you want to target by zip codes with active investor buyers. Okay, so because some properties they're not going to have buyers, so there's no point, right? So layering your data like that helps you focus on sellers who aren't just in trouble, but they're able to sell. Okay, and here's the cool part: you don't have to do all of that manually, right? You can get everything you need in one place. Okay, I use PropStream personally. You can go to myempirepro.com/big data. It gives you access to the same kind of data professionals use. Okay, same access, but now you understand pre-foreclosures, lease pendings, probate, high equity, absentee owners, all layered and ready to go. It lowers the number of people on your list, and then obviously it manages your marketing budget. And that's where the game really changes, when you stop guessing and start working from precision data. So now, once you've got your list pendings list, it's time to move from data to contact. Stage two in our 5-stage system, right? You need to skip trace, find their information, and start reaching out, or you can also use some other marketing. When you reach out to these homeowners, you need to do it with empathy. Remember, these folks are in the middle of something stressful, and they're not just leads, they are people. These are human beings. So you're not calling to pressure them, you're calling to help them find a solution. This is a mindset shift that actually affects your energy as well. So I like to start with something simple like, hey, John, hey, Mary, hey, Diana, I came across your property on 123 Main Street, and I wanted to see if you thought about selling it. I work with investors who can close quickly. Okay, we're a network of investors who can close quickly, and sometimes that helps folks going through tricky situations. And is that something you're open to? It's a very simple, right? You can call, you can send a letter, or you can do the best one, digital marketing. Okay, and that's the direct, respectful, and helpful. And if they're interested, now you move into the lead stage, interest, which digital marketing help you to jump to that stage because it's inbound, right? And when you start talking to them, how long have you owned the property for? What's got you thinking about selling? You're trying to measure again their motivation. Okay. And if we can get you a fair offer, how soon would you want to close? You remember that timeline metric? Yes, motivation, timeline, and condition. And those questions will reveal motivation and timeline and the same decision metrics we talked about in that last segment. So, and then you simply move to the contract stage, running your numbers using the 70% rule. You remember that? I have another video on that if you want to watch that. After repair value, multiply by 70% or 0.7 minus repairs equals your max offer, the maximum allowed. You adjust that 70% depend on the property value, up to 85% for $1 million homes and down to 50% for lower value homes, so you can create enough spread for profit. Once you have your offer, you get it signed. Okay, you can use DocuSign or you can use fax, and you're at a stage we'll call the contract. You have contract, and finally deals. You assign that contract to your end buyer, and then you involve everybody that will help make that happen, title companies, all that kind of stuff, and then you collect your assignment fee, and that's your check. That's your paycheck for solving someone's problem and connecting the dots. Now, before we move on, let's talk about one more important thing. Okay, one more important thing. All right. Now, the legal and the ethical side of our list pendants. These properties are in sensitive situation. Okay, I want to make sure that's clear. Foreclosures, divorces, probate, and that means emotions are high. Okay, and people are under pressure. Always approach with professionalism and empathy. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't give legal advice. Okay, you're not their attorney, you're not their agent. Okay, you're not going to represent their interests. You're going to provide solution, but not their interests. You are, however, a problem solver, and your job is to help, not to exploit. But you need to, that's a legal language, representing their interest. You're not representing their interest. The best wholesalers, the ones who last, they treat sellers like partners, not like prey. However, they know how to build reputation. They know how to keep the doors open for years to come. And I'll say this, some of my most profitable deals, they came from list pendants list, but they also came from the most meaningful conversations. People who were in tough spots, and I helped them move forward with dignity. So that's what this business is about at its core. It's service first and profit second. All right. So let's do a quick recap. Okay. List pendants means a lawsuit or a pending legal action involving a property. Okay, I like to say against the property, usually foreclosure, probate, or divorce. Okay, so it's not always foreclosure, depending on the county. It's public records and a powerful source of motivated sellers, and it fits into the data stage of our 5-stage system. That's 2. Number 3, you can find it through your county records or simply by downloading it from myempirepro.com/big data. Okay, and then you can filter your list by equity, vacancy, ownership length, and location to find the best prospects. Okay, so and then you want to approach these sellers with empathy and integrity. What is that? Number 6. Number 7, I don't know, I probably miscounted. You want to use your 70% rule to structure solid offers. Okay. And remember, this business thrives on processes like marketing, acquisition, disposition, working together through the 5 different stages: data, contact, leads, contract, and deals. Finally, deals, closed deals. Once you master how to work with list pendants, you start competing for leftovers, hidden profits, and start uncovering gold mines hidden in plain sight. Because while everyone else is fighting over the same absentee owners list, you'll be talking to homeowners who actually need your help. And that's where the real money is made. All right. So now that you understand what list pending is, let's see how to use it like a weapon. Let's see how to use it like a weapon to get deals no one else even sees. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of hint here, but I'll be right back. Hold tight, hold tight. I'll be right back.
This is Ola at My Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
Welcome back. List pending is the hidden weapon of wholesale real estate. Okay, so while others are competing for overpriced leads, that one is a whole scam on its own. Professionals are quietly locking up off-market deals, off-market gems using list pendings. Here's how they do it. If you've been wholesaling for a while, you already know the struggle. Okay. If you don't know yet, just wait for it. The competition for leads can be brutal. Okay. When I started, it wasn't like that, but hey, there's a way to still set yourself apart. You've got 5 other investors texting the same seller, 3 more dropping postcards, and 2 others calling that same homeowner before lunch. It's like a race where everyone's chasing the same tired list. But there's a quieter way, there's a quieter side to this business. And this side is where the smart investors operate. Okay, you're an investor, yes, you are. And it's not about hustling harder, okay? These guys, they're working smarter. They're not spending all their time fighting for overpriced, overworked leads. Instead, they're locking up off-market gems that most wholesalers don't even know exist. So, and one of their most powerful tools to do it is list pendings. Okay. So we're talking about list pendings again. Yes, we have to talk about it. Now, if you caught our last segment, right, we already know that list pendings means a pending lawsuit, a suit pending, right? It's a public record showing that the property is tied to a pending legal action, usually foreclosure, divorce, or probate. Unfortunate situations. It's one of the most powerful yet underused sources of motivated sellers in the entire real estate industry. So, but today we're not just defining it, we're walking through how to use it. Okay, so now let's go step by step through the 3 processes that run every wholesale business: marketing, acquisition, and disposition, and see exactly how list pendings data plugs in into that, and plugs in to create profit, high profit deals with less competition. Now let's start with marketing, right? Marketing is how you fill your pipeline. Okay. As a matter of fact, dare I say, you're not in real estate business, you're a marketing business. Okay. Remember, wholesale real estate is the heart and science of finding deeply discounted properties, locking up the rights to those discounts with a purchase contract, and assigning those rights to an end buyer, usually an investor, for a profit. The average assignment fee, $15,000 to $25,000. The highest I've personally earned was $82,000. Okay, so, but to get those kinds of results, you need high quality, motivated leads, not just a big list of random homeowners. There's a lot of people sharing lists all over the place. You need to actually create a quality list. Okay, and that's where list pendings data changes the game. You can pull this data directly from your county records, and you can grab everything you need in minutes at myempirepro.com/big data, which is your access to PropStream. Now, again, whatever you find there is what we use. This is where all the leads are already layered and ready to go. You find pre-foreclosures, probate, absentee owners, and yes, list pendings, and hidden weapon that the winners in this game they're using. list pendants. Have I said that again? Okay, so now here's how to put that data to work. Let's say you pull a fresh list of a list pendants list, right, in your target county. Each name on that list represents a homeowner facing a legal challenge with their property. Okay, it's a stressful situation, often a foreclosure notice, right? And they're not just maybe thinking about selling, they're under pressure. They don't have time. And before you ever pick up the phone or contact them with a postcard, here's rule number one: lead with empathy. Okay, these homeowners are going through tough times. They might be behind on payments, maybe by 3 months, sometimes by 12 months. Sometimes they catch up and then they catch up again and then they go back, they fall behind again. And dealing with the courts and facing the loss of their home, the last thing they need is a pushy sales pitch. Okay, so you don't want to do that hard sales pitch stuff, which is, I prefer personally inbound marketing. And here's a simple proven script that works regardless of your method or your channel of marketing. Hey, Mary, my name is Ola. I'm reaching out because I saw that you own 123 Main Street, and I wanted to ask, have you considered selling it or getting out of the mortgage before things get too stressful? Now, I wouldn't say mortgage, okay? Okay, so the mortgage thing, I'll be very careful with that, okay? And you just want to offer to help, okay? They'll tell you if they want to tell you. They're comfortable telling you, they'll tell you. You might say things like, would you be open to a quick conversation about getting rid of the property? Would you like to sell? Are you open to selling? I like to stay focused on the selling. So you notice the tone, calm, conversational, respectful, and you're not saying, I heard you're getting foreclosed on. Yeah, don't say that. You're offering help and not pressure, and it needs to show in your energy. And if they say yes and show even a little curiosity, you move naturally into the discovery mode, right? You start asking a little bit more questions about the property. What's been happening with the property lately? Can you tell me more about the property? Things like that, right? Are you still living there? Or is it vacant, And if I could get you a fair offer, how soon would you want to move forward? Timeline, motivation, timeline, and the condition. And these three questions tell you everything you need: motivation, condition, and timeline. Make it conversational, okay? No pressure. Very simple. And that's your marketing stage, moving smoothly into acquisition, the second process in your system. Okay, now you need to lock it up under contract. Acquisition is all about converting the interest that they're showing into contract. It's where you analyze the deal, right? Hopefully you now know how to analyze deals in minutes, and that's where you make an offer. Now, this part can move fast because list pending sellers are typically in a time-sensitive situation. The bank might be breathing down their neck, okay? They might have a court date coming up. They don't have the luxury of waiting months to sell. They don't have the luxury of listing the house on the market for 180 days. And that's why list pending deals convert higher. So while other wholesalers are following up for weeks, hoping someone calls them back, because they're chasing after high equity or vacant tire landlords, and that's it. You're talking to sellers who need to move now, right now. And here's how that plays out. You pull up the property, run your quick analysis using the 70% rule, the ARV multiplied by 70%, 0.7, minus repair cost equals your maximum offer. And if the property is higher end, say in the $1 million range, right, that 70% can stretch to 80 or 85%. And if it's lower value, let's say the property is under $100,000, you might drop that percentage to 50 to 60%, so you have enough room for your buyer and your assignment fee, right? Once you've got your number, make your offer confidently. What's the worst that can happen? No, right? Remember, these sellers are motivated, okay? They're not price shopping. They're locking up price only to look for peace of mind. They're looking for peace of mind and a path forward. They want to move forward from this liability. And here's the truth. When you approach with empathy and speed, you become that path. Okay? So now, let's say you've got the contract signed. Congratulations. Okay, you're now in the third process. We call it disposition. This is where you move that contract to an end buyer. Usually an investor, you either fix or flip the property, okay? Or you could just have an investor fix and flip the property. You collect your assignment fee up front, or you can hold it for rent. Now, list pendants properties are beautiful for disposition because they're often under market value and time sensitive. Investors love that combination. They can close fast, they know the seller's motivated, and they know there's room for profit. And that's why these deals often lead to higher assignment fees. Okay. And if you're using double closing, you never have to disclose to any side of it. You just make your money quietly and you keep it moving, you keep marketing, you keep rolling your profit back into the business. So let me give you a real example, if you will. My biggest wholesale deal, $82,000 net. Yes, it came from list pending. Okay. And I remember it clearly because I almost skipped the call. Okay, I almost skipped the call. It was a Monday morning. Okay, I don't think I ever met the seller actually, and I was catching up on some admin work, and I pulled up a list pendants list from the week before, and one address kept, coming up. It kept coming up. It was very weird address on Peabody Place in Newark. And I called the homeowner. They were 3 months behind at that time, but after a few follow-ups, it ended up being about 6 or 7 months. He was overwhelmed. He just wanted a way out. He didn't live in the property. He lived in Brooklyn. And we had a conversation that turned into an appointment. And 3 days later, I signed contract and the property was in rough shape, needed some work. But by the time we were done with that process, it all made sense. The ARV was, somewhere around $400,000. I locked it up. Anyway, long story short, a local fix and flip investor bought the contract and I had to feel my pulse. $82,000 net. Okay, and the seller was relieved. The buyer was thrilled, and I built a long-term relationship. Okay, with both sides. Now, all because I called one lead on the list pendants list that most wholesalers ignored. Okay, I actually called back. It was inbound marketing. I only do inbound marketing, so it was a letter. So that deal taught me something powerful. You don't need to chase 100 leads. You make sure you filter from a list pendants down to a solid list, and you just basically be consistent. You just need the right ones, not everything. And list pendants leads, they're some of the best. So they convert higher because of the time-sensitive situation, and they're not cold leads. They are inbound leads. They're warm, urgent, and ready. And here's the kicker. Okay, there's almost no competition. Okay, no competition. Most wholesalers won't touch list pendants because they are afraid of negative equity and things like that. We have solutions for that. Okay, because they think it's complicated. There are solutions for everything. Okay, again, you're a problem solver, and a lot of these people, they don't know how to come up with a solution. They want easy money. Okay, so you can quietly build a pipeline of motivated sellers by while everyone else is fighting over the scraps of tired lists. So here's how you turn this into a repeatable system. It's very simple. One, pull fresh list pendants list weekly. Okay, of course, there's no time. You're competing, so there's no time to be going to the county. Just go to myempirepro.com/big data, and you can take a trial for free. Okay, and download the list. Two, layer your filters. Look for properties that has list pendants, but it's also equity, longer ownership, ideally vacancy. And number three, you want to reach out with empathy, or have them reach out and then speak to them with empathy. Offer solutions, not pressure. And then four, you want to run quick analysis using the 70% rule. And then five, lock it up, assign it, and repeat. And all you need is $10,000 so you can pay for the next year of marketing. That's it. And you do that consistently, and you build a business that's not just profitable, it's predictable. Because while other investors are out there burning money, resources, time, energy on overworked lead lists, some of them are wasting money on paid ads, you'll be closing quiet, high margin deals that almost no one else sees. And that's how the pros do it. So the next time you're looking for a fresh way to fill your pipeline, okay, skip the crowded lanes and go where the real opportunities live. Motivation, high motivation. List pendants is not just a list, it's a strategy. It's a way to tap into motivated sellers. Motivated sellers who actually genuinely need your help, okay? And they need your help, but you're going to be doing it with integrity, efficiency, and then you get to profit. And you got the secret weapon right now, okay? You can profit without having risk. All right. So let's talk about how to work smarter and not harder. All right. And I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
This is Ola at My Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
Welcome back. Double profit, zero extra risk, wholesale real estate hacks. Let's talk about some hacks. Okay. We talked about commitment, consistency, all that kind of stuff, but let's talk about some hacks. If you want to double your wholesale profits without working harder or risking more. Now, these are the same hacks I've used to pull $15,000, $25,000, $30,000 deal and even $82,000 assignment fees. And today I'm going to break down exactly how to do it. Now, when people hear double your profit, they usually think it means doing double the work, but not, okay? Actually, it means the opposite. Twice the marketing is what people think. They think twice the cost, they think twice the headaches. But in real estate, especially wholesale real estate, that's not how it works. The key isn't to work harder, it's to work smarter. Because wholesale real estate at its core is about leverage. Leverage. You know what leverage is? I'm a student of leverage. Leverage is what allows you to multiply your income without multiplying your effort. It's that simple. It's using systems, partnerships, and of course, automations, especially in this AI world, to get more done in less time and without adding risk. You see, this business isn't about how many hours you grind. It's about how efficiently you move through the 5 stages: data, contact, leads, contract, and deals. And you do that using the 3 processes that power everything: marketing, acquisition, and disposition. When all 3 work together in synergy, your profits multiply naturally. And that's what we're driving at today, right, in this segment, okay? So let's get into the 4 hacks that can literally double your profit margins without doubling your workload. Hack number 1, joint venture with other wholesalers, JV with other wholesalers. This one alone can change your entire business overnight. It doesn't have to be a competition. JV stands for joint venture, of course, like I just said, right? It means partnering up with other wholesalers, not to compete, but to collaborate. In this world we live in, everything's about collaborations, okay? And here's the truth: every wholesaler has 1 or 2 problems. Either they've got deals but no buyers, or they've got buyers, no deals. When you JV, you bring those 2 sides together, or you bring another piece of small part of the process together, right? Let's say you've got a great deal under contract, but your buyers list is limited. Instead of letting it sit and scrambling to find someone, you call another wholesaler, just 1 call away, somebody who has active buyers on their list, and you split the profit 50-50, and both of you win. There's more than enough money to go around. That same model works in reverse, right? In reverse too, right? So if someone in your network has a contract but can't move it, offer to help find a buyer. Just don't try to lock them up in a contract. You bring value, they get paid, and you earn your share. You didn't spend a single dollar on new marketing. You just leverage relationships, 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 real estate, real estate, real estate, right? And once you start doing this regularly, you realize that the wholesale game is not about isolation. It's about integration. The people who make the most money in this space are usually the most connected. Okay, there are people that you see at the event, not just the most active. So start building your JV network. Connect with local wholesalers. Join real estate Facebook groups or attend your local REAs. We call them REAs, Real Estate Investors Associations. Share your deals, share your buyers, and watch your profit opportunities multiply. Hack number 2. Recycle your dead leads every 90 days. You generated a lead and it's crickets, right? This one is massive because one of the biggest mistakes wholesalers make is thinking that a no today means a no forever. That's one of the greatest mistakes you can make, okay? Because no one has all the money in the world for just marketing on their own. A no today does not mean no forever. It doesn't. People's situations change. Motivation changes. A seller who wasn't ready last quarter might be desperate today. And that's why I follow what I call the 90-day rule. I shared that with you earlier, right? Every 90 days, go back through your old leads. Think in cycles of 90 days, every quarter. Go back through your old leads, the ones who ghosted, the ones that said not interested, and the one that told you to call later, right? The one, recontact them. Okay, I'm not talking about do not call this. Just recontact those and check and say, hey, we spoke a few months ago about your property at 123 Main Street. Just wanted to see if your plans have changed and are you still thinking about selling? Okay, and you'll be amazed how many people will respond with, actually, yes, I'm ready now. You'll be surprised. And you didn't have to buy another list or spend a dime on new marketing, right? You just recycled your pipeline. And that's the power of consistency. Again, remember, this is a pipeline business. The results you're seeing today are from the work you did 90 days ago. Keep that pipeline moving, and it will start paying you on autopilot. Hack number 3. Use automation, use AI when the chance presents itself. It's called leverage. Use these things to multiply your outreach. Here's where the pros separate themselves. Here's where the winners separate themselves from the losers. Most wholesalers are doing everything manually, dialing by hand because they call it they're broke, right? Getting frustrated and writing every follow-up text, updating spreadsheets late in the night. And while they're busy doing that, the winners are letting automation do 80% of the heavy lifting. Technology is cheap, super cheap. And if you want to scale your income, you need systems, you need CRMs. Okay, again, don't overstack, but you need something. You need automations, you need AI tools that will keep your pipeline alive even when you're not working. And a good CRM will track every lead, remind you when to follow up, and send automated messages, information, and automate the reminder for you. So you keep things at the top of mind when it comes to sellers. So imagine you talk to a seller who's not ready yet. Instead of forgetting about them, you have a list on PropStream somewhere, and or your CRM, any CRM, okay? And you are checking in with them and you say, hey, just wondering. You can use automation as much as you can. Hey, just wondering if you made a decision about your property. That one automation can turn cold leads into warm leads. You never know. Your timing is always right. The timing of your prospects are not always right, but the timing is always right for you, for the system you set up. So there are plenty of CRMs out there. Choose one that fits your budget and your workflow, and some even integrate AI tools that allow your leads, suggest next steps, and personalize your outreach. So remember, let's keep it simple, okay? Don't get overwhelmed. Keep it simple, okay? Automation doesn't replace you. It amplifies you, okay? It gives you the leverage to have hundreds of active conversations without burning out. And when you combine automation with your joint venture network, your JV network, and your recycled leads, your deal flow will start to compound. Okay, will start compounding out, and that's when things start to get exciting. Okay, it looks like it's always feel, but it's because of the work you've done 90 days ago. Now, hack number 4: negotiate terms, not just price. This one's a mindset shift. Most wholesalers focus only on price. I told you there's no hard rule here. It just depends. Okay, can I get it cheaper? That's not your language, but the professional, they know how to negotiate also in terms, timeline, things, the other things, inspection timelines, other stuff like that that can go into the deal, or even using notes, promissory notes and stuff like that to close deals. Sometimes you can get a higher assignment fee, not by lowering the purchase price, but by simply adjusting the terms of the deals. Maybe you negotiate a flexible closing timeline, or you get access to the property before closing to show it to buyers, or maybe you structure a double close or a novation agreement. That's another one we can talk more about later on, so you can sell it at a full retail after minor improvement. These terms create opportunities that most wholesalers overlook. All right, so let's say a seller, he won't budge. He or she won't budge on price, but they're willing to give you 60 days to close. That's leverage. Use it, leverage it. Now, you've got time to line up the perfect buyer, maybe even multiple buyers, or create a bidding war. I don't like bidding wars personally. Or maybe you negotiate early possession so you can start marketing immediately. Okay, maybe they want to leave it vacant. And that one move can shave weeks off of your closing timeline. All right, so when you start thinking in terms, not just price, you unlock deals that others might not see, or otherwise you might not be able to turn into deals. So that's how you double your profit without adding additional risk. Because the reality is this: you don't have to swing harder to hit home runs in this business. You just have to relax, look at things, and then, hey, decide. There might be a couple of leverage points that you can leverage to your favor to solve the problem. You just have to learn how to position yourself smarter. Now, let's tie all of this back to the framework we've been talking about throughout this series, right? Everything we just covered: joint venture partnerships, lead recycling, automation, and better negotiation are simply ways to make your 3 core processes work more efficiently together. Okay, marketing brings the data and the leads, right? The data turned to leads. That's all still marketing. And then acquisition converts those leads into contracts, right? Now we're at the 3rd stage now. And then disposition turn those contracts into cash. And when you tighten the synergy over time, okay, when you tighten that synergy between those 3, when they feed each other smoothly, your 5 stages: data, contact, leads, contract, deals, they start to flow naturally. And that's where true profit scaling happens. Okay, so let's look at a quick example before we round up. All right, imagine you pull a list pendants list from myempirepro.com/big data, right? That's your data stage. And then you skip trace, or you contact them using inbound. I like inbound better. You contact the sellers using inbound automation tools. That's your marketing, okay? And acquisition all together, working together. And then you close deal, but instead of struggling to find a buyer, your JV, or you JV with another wholesaler and a person who already has active investor network, and that's disposition powered by partnership. Why? Wait, what's the result? You just turned one solid lead into a higher paying deal without spending any extra money or taking on any extra risk. You profit $10,000. Okay, no, somebody else found the buyer for you. Split the profit. You just made $5,000. All right. And remember, it's a pipeline. It compounds out over time. That $5,000 somewhere in the future is $50,000. And that's the beauty of leverage. You don't have to be the biggest. You just have to be the most strategic. Okay. Because this is a business. It's a business system, and it compounds over time. And once you start thinking this way, the business stops feeling like a hustle. It starts to feel like a machine you built, a machine that runs smoothly, and a machine that pays you consistently, because that's the end goal. Not just to make a quick check here and there, but to build a real business that runs on systems, that runs on its own, relationships and consistency. Okay. And if you were a machine, it will be boring, but you're not a machine. You understand systems. You now have the full $10,000 per month blueprint, from staying focused to mastering commitment and consistency to analyzing deals fast, using list spendings to find hidden properties, hidden opportunities, if you will, and finally doubling your profit through leverage. Okay. So now's your turn. Now's your turn. If you're serious about building your own wholesale system, wholesale real estate system, get the data and the step-by-step guide, everything you need. There's no need to purchase course. Just go through or purchase a $30,000 course. Just go to myempirepro.com/big data and let's make your next deals your biggest yet. Okay. In due time, I'll be right back. Yes, I promise you, in due time, I'll be right back. Go watch some other videos on the channel. We'll see you soon. Take care. Cheers.
This is Ola at My Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.